Chapter 17. Very Strange Discoveries. A storm of anger broke over poor Bets when Mr. Goon had gone. "Idiot!" said Pip. "Going and blabbing everything out to old Hiccup." "Honestly, you've ruined everything, Bets," said Daisy. "This is the end of the find-outers," said Larry gloomily. "That's what comes of having a baby in it like Bets. Everything's spoilt." Bets sobbed loudly. Fatty was sorry for her. He actually put his arm round her and spoke kindly, though he felt as impatient as the others at the break-up of their plans and hopes. "Don't cry, Bets. We all do silly things. It was clever of you and Buster to track those prints, I must say. And wouldn't I like to know which of those two, Mr. Peaks or Mr. Smelly, wore those shoes?" Pip's mother appeared again, looking stern. "I hope you are feeling ashamed of yourselves," she said. "I want you all to go down and apologise to Mr. Hick for interfering in his concerns. He is naturally very annoyed to think that you have been messing about each day in his garden." "We didn't do any harm," said Pip. "That's not the point," said his mother. "You children simply cannot be allowed to go onto private property and into private houses without permission. You will all go down immediately to Mr. Hick and apologise. Do as I say at once." The children set off together down the drive, with Buster at their heels. They were all sulky and mutinous. They hated having to apologise to someone they detested. Also, they all felt that it was terribly mean of Mr. Hick to have given Bets away like that, when he had solemnly promised not to. "He's a nasty piece of work," said Larry, and everyone agreed. "I don't care who set fire to his workroom," said Fatty. "I'm glad it was burnt down, and his precious papers too." "You shouldn't say things like that," said Daisy, though she felt much the same herself at that moment. They arrived at the house and rang the bell. Bets pointed out the footprints, and they all gazed at them with interest. Bets was right. The prints were exactly like the ones in Fatty's drawing. It was too bad that they had to give up the search for the criminal just as they had almost found the man. Mrs. Minns opened the door and was surprised to see the little company. Sweetie, who was at her heels, fled away with her tail up in the air as soon as she saw Buster. "Please will you tell Mr. Mr. Hick, that we want to see him," said Larry. Mrs. Minns looked even more surprised and was about to answer when a voice called from the study. "Who's that, Mrs. Minns?" "5 children and a dog, sir," answered Mrs. Minns. "They say they want to see you." There was a pause. "Bring them in," said Mr. Hick's voice, and very solemnly the children and Buster went into the study. Mr. Hick was there, sitting in a big chair, his legs crossed and his crest of hair looking rather alarming. "What have you come for?" he asked. "Mother said we were all to apologise to you, Mr. Hick," said Pip. And with one voice the children chanted in a most mournful tone, "We apologise, Mr. Hick." Said Mr. Hick, looking more amiable. "I should think so indeed." "You said you wouldn't tell anyone," burst out Bets. "You broke your promise." Mr. Hick didn't consider that promises made to children need be kept at all, so he didn't feel guilty or say he was sorry. He was about to say something when several aeroplanes passed over the garden rather low. The noise made him jump, and Buster growled. Larry ran to the window. He was extremely good at spotting any kind of aeroplane that flew overhead. "It's those jets again," he cried. "I've only seen them twice over here. Look at their curious tail fins." "They were over here 2 or 3 days ago," said Mr. Hick with interest. "I saw them. There were 7. Are there 7 today?" Larry counted them. All the children looked out of the window, except Fatty. He didn't look out of the window. He looked at Mr. Hick with a most bewildered expression on his face. He opened his mouth as if to speak, and then firmly closed it again. But he still went on staring at Mr. Hick, very deep in thought. The jets came over again, roaring low. "Let's go out and see them," said Larry. "We can see them better outdoors. Goodbye, Mr. Hick." "Goodbye. And don't poke and pry again into matters that don't concern children," said Mr. Hick stiffly. "It was probably Horace Peakes that fired my workroom. The police will soon make out a case against him. He wore rubber-soled shoes this morning when he came to see me, and there is no doubt that he made those prints up and down the drive." "Oh," said the children, feeling very sorry for poor Lily. She would be terribly upset, they knew. Only Fatty said nothing, but looked hard at Mr. Hick again, a curious expression on his face. They all went out, but the jets were now gone again, leaving a faint throbbing behind them. "Well, that's done," said Larry with relief. "How I hated apologizing to that mean fellow. I suppose Mr. Peakes did do it after all. Burnt the cottage, I mean." Fatty was very silent as they all walked down the lane towards the river. They meant to go for a short walk before supper time. Bets looked at Fatty. "What's the matter?" she asked. "I was thinking of something very, very, very odd," said Fatty. "What was it?" asked the others, interested. Fatty stopped and pointed up into the sky. "You know those planes we saw?" he said. The others nodded. "Well," said Fatty, "they were jets, and they have only been over here twice. Once today, and once on the evening of the day that the cottage was burnt." "Well, what about it?" said Larry impatiently. "Nothing odd about that, surely." "Listen," said Fatty. "When we spoke about those jets, what did Mr. Hick say? He said that he saw them when they were over here 2 or 3 days ago, and he counted them, and there were 7, which was quite correct." "What are you getting at?" asked Pip, frowning. "I'm getting at something peculiar," said Fatty. "Where was Mr. Hick on the evening that the fire was started?" "On the London train," said Larry. "Then how could he have seen and counted the jets that flew over here?" said Fatty. There was a startled silence. Everyone thought hard. Larry spoke first. "It is peculiar," he said. "Those planes have only been here twice. Everyone spoke about them. And if Hiccup saw them that evening, then he must have been here." "And yet his chauffeur met the London train and he walked off it," said Daisy. "He couldn't possibly have seen the planes if he was really on the train, because at that time the train had hardly started out from London." "And so," said Fatty, a note of triumph in his voice, "and so, find-outers, we have yet another suspect. Mr. Hick himself." "Oh," said Bets, amazed. "But he wouldn't burn his own cottage." "He might, to get the insurance money on his valuable papers," said Fatty. "People do that sometimes. I expect he sold the papers, then set fire to the workroom and pretended the papers were burnt in order to get more money. Golly, can it really be possible?" "We can't tell anyone," said Daisy. "I should think not," said Larry. "Whatever in the world shall we do about it?" "We must find out how it was that Mr. Hick got on the London train that night," said Fatty. "Look, we're near the railway line here. The London trains always come by here, and there's one due. Let's see what happens." The children climbed onto the fence by the railway and sat there waiting. Soon they saw a train in the distance. It came roaring along, but when it reached one portion of the line, it slowed down, and finally it stopped. "It always stops there," said Bets. "I've noticed that. Perhaps there's a signal or something." It was too far away to see why it had stopped. Anyway, it soon started up again and rushed by the 5 children. Buster ran away behind a bush when it came. He was afraid of the noise. Fatty was again thinking very deeply. So was Larry. "Listen," said Fatty. "Is it possible for anyone at night to wait for the train just there and hop into an empty carriage, do you think? Then, at Peterswood Station, if he had a season ticket, people would never know he hadn't come all the way from London." "Fatty, I believe you're right," said Larry. "I was just thinking the very same thing myself. I believe Hiccup could have done it. Pretended to go to London, slipped back, hid in the ditch, leaving those few footprints behind him, set fire to the cottage, slipped back to the railway line just there, wait till the train stopped, as it always does, hopped into an empty carriage in the dark, and then got out as cool as a cucumber to be met by his car and chauffeur at the station. The more the children thought about this, the more certain they felt that Mr. Hick might have done it. "After all," said Bets, "a man that could break his faithful promise could do anything, simply anything." "Whatever is Buster doing?" said Fatty, hearing some excited barks coming from the little dog, some way back in the copse of trees behind them. "Buster! Buster, what's the matter? Found a rabbit?" Buster yelped and then appeared, dragging something black and muddy. "Whatever has he got?" said Bets. Everyone looked to see. "It's an old shoe," said Daisy, laughing. "Buster, what do you want with an old shoe?" Buster went to Bets and laid the shoe down at her feet. Then he stood looking up at her as if he was telling her something, wagging his tail hard. Bets picked up the shoe. She turned it over. "Look," said Bets. "The real, proper shoe at last. The one that made the footprints." The others nearly fell off the fence in their excitement. Bets was perfectly right. It was the shoe. "Buster followed the footprints and knew their smell, and when he smelt the shoe hidden over there, he knew the smell again, and that's why he brought it to me," cried Bets. "We had followed the prints together, you see. Oh, and now I know why he kept on sniffing round Mr. Hick's shoes when I went to see him. He could smell the same smell." "Clever dog," said Fatty, patting Buster. "Where's the other shoe, old fellow? Find it, find it!" Buster rushed off to a bush not far away and began to scrape violently beneath it. Soon he unearthed the other shoe and laid it at Fatty's feet. The children picked it up. "Well," said Fatty, "this is very strange. I suppose old Hiccup got the wind up after Bets had told him she had followed the footprints and went out and buried the shoes in case the police should find them in his house or spot him wearing them. And good old Buster smelt them out. Clever, good, marvellous dog. Big bone for you tomorrow, Buster. A great big bone." "And now, whatever are we going to do about everything?" said Larry, going back to the path. "It's no good telling the police. We're in disgrace and wouldn't be listened to. It's no good telling our parents. We're in enough trouble as it is." "Let's go and sit down by the river and talk about it," said Pip. "Come on, we'll simply have to decide something. Things are getting very serious."